As details continue to change in Texas about law enforcement's response to the elementary school shooting, we look back at a decades-old Castle Rock case that revealed officers are not liable for their non-actions. More security in schools is a simple answer, if only there were people willing to take the job. The Colorado Rockies register their new uniforms, which is what makes them less authentic than they should be. We've hit a new century of good news, and boy, do we need it this week. And a recommendation for what you can do this weekend long before you have to say goodbye. I'll try to keep it together next. Police said. Reporting on crime over the last few years has given me pause on the term police said. Often the first news we get about a crime is through a police news release or news conference. Police said. Over the last 3 days in Texas regarding the elementary school shooting, police have given timelines of events that have changed dramatically. First, the gunman shot a law enforcement officer outside the school. No. Then it became a law enforcement officer engaged the shooter before he entered the school. No. Now, we're told 19 law enforcement officers were in a hallway outside the classroom for 48 minutes as children inside called 911 for help. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. It's unlikely any law enforcement officer in Texas will be held liable for their non-actions because of a Supreme Court case about Castle Rock police. In 1999, Jessica Gonzalez's 3 daughters were killed by her estranged husband. She had a restraining order when he took them one afternoon. She tried to get police to go to where she knew they were. They did not. The situation ended in the middle of the night in front of the police station. A shootout with police killed her husband. Her daughters were inside the truck and believed to have been killed by her husband prior to the shootout. The actions by Castle Rock police regarding the restraining order ended up in court, all the way to the Supreme Court, where in 2005 it ruled that police are not financially liable for their non-actions. That is different than law enforcement being sued and sometimes being held liable for injuries they cause.
There's a difference between the affirmative action of law enforcement versus the failure to act by law enforcement. What we see from this case in Castle Rock is that the Supreme Court has made it difficult to recover from law enforcement for failing to act or not having better police methods.
That is not to say that a family member in Texas cannot sue, but the Castle Rock decision by the Supreme Court makes it difficult to win. Our Anusha Roy hit us with a gut punch when she showed us how teachers are trained to prepare their students for an attack. She also learned some Colorado school districts struggle to recruit enough people to be the security, so perhaps the teachers won't need to be. Anusha's here now, and this came up in your conversation with Jefferson County Schools.
Yeah, I was having this long conversation with the director of security about how critical it is to keep someone with a gun or honestly any kind of threat outside of the classroom so that it doesn't fall on our teachers and our kids to defend themselves. And that's when he brought up the stress and the challenges they're facing right now to fill their open positions, and that list of open spots is long.
3 emergency dispatch openings, 3 armed patrol officer openings, and I think 16 campus security openings. You know, I look at this and say, if you really believe that, you know, protecting our most precious resource, protecting our most innocent is a valuable thing to do, then come join us in this fight.
Jeffco is not the only district. Douglas County pairs with law enforcement for school resource officers, but also facing challenges to hire other security staff like dispatchers. Same going for DPS. They didn't have the time to talk today because they've been busy going over what happened at Northfield High School yesterday to figure out ways to improve their response in the future. This was after reports of a student who possibly had a gun. Denver police saying that appeared to be a paintball gun. 2 kids were taken into custody, interviewed, and then released to their parents. And so what I heard from all of the districts today is that they're dealing with the labor shortage and a really competitive recruiting environment, competitive pay, especially for a very high pressure job. It is the same kind of issues we've talked about with so many other industries as well. And I do want to point out that we're talking about shortages within a district security department. That is different than school resource officers connected to law enforcement. But in some communities, like within DPS, it is still controversial, specifically about the way that minority these students are treated, which we have previously covered as well over the last couple of years.
You know, I hear what you're saying, and it reminds me of like the nursing shortage during COVID, that you're asking for people who have some sort of experience. Hey, if you're retired, come back. If you have this experience and you're out of work or what you're doing, please come back. It's so odd.
And it's really stretching a lot of people, right? So DPS short anywhere from 10 to 15 people. Jeffco, it's over 20. And so that means a lot of overtime, like you were talking about. And McDonald with Jeffco said that, you know, it's overtime. It's people working when they're sick, when they're injured. They're cutting their vacation time short. And he said it's not sustainable at this point for something so important. The good news, though, it's not all districts. So I did talk to Boulder Valley School District. They said their staffing within their security department right now, it's pretty normal.
It's odd to hear that the easiest answer may not be the easiest answer.
Exactly. And so that means recruitment is super important right now. They're refocusing their efforts. And one thing that the Denver Public Schools is doing is they're actually working with Elitch Gardens to see if any of their seasonal safety employees would be interested in working with the district during the school year.
Well, thanks, Anusha. The Boulder is set to run the Legit Boulder course for the first time since 2019. And 3 days before that race, Boulder County announces it is now in the high-risk level for COVID. That's based on case counts and hospitalizations. The county warns that strain on hospitals and healthcare is rising. The advice, wear a mask indoors in public, get vaccinated and boosted, and get tested if you're exposed to someone with the virus. Check out the state map showing 1 week positivity rates. Red, which is everywhere on the Front Range except Denver, that has a rate greater than 10% in red. We want to be less than 5% to limit community spread. Tonight's next question is a three-parter from Elizabeth about the free at-home COVID tests provided by the federal government that are about to expire. She asks, when do they plan to send out more? And as for those expired tests, what do you do with them? And are they still valid? Good timing from Elizabeth, because it was 1 week ago that the Biden administration announced it's making a third round of free at-home rapid tests available to order. Each household can get up to 8 additional tests. That's 4 boxes. It's fairly simple to order. Go to the website covidtests.gov, you see it on the screen right there. As for the upcoming expiration dates of the first round of free tests, a lot of those were actually extended. It depends on which test you received, though. The Binax Now tests, for example, now have an extra 6 months of shelf life, according to the FDA. The iHealth rapid test that showed up in the orange and white box, the FDA extended the expiration dates by 3 months. If you have questions about the shelf life of any other rapid tests, we'll put that info in this story on 9news.com. They've extended most of them at least a few months, but the state health department tells us that if you have tests that have not been extended and are truly expired, don't use them. Send us the questions you have rapidly or at your own pace. We like it when you record yourself on video asking the question, audio if you're a little shy. Email it to next@9news.com. The children of Colorado's fallen first responders and military have an ally all the way through childhood, someone who shows up time and time again with support and financial help to make their dreams come true. And that ally has had an ally in you this week through your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign. Here's Kyle with an update on your progress.
I hope that you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend full of rest and relaxation. I also hope that it includes an opportunity to remember those who have given all in service of our country. Our Word of Thanks micro-giving project this week supports Angels of America's Fallen. They're a Colorado-based nonprofit that supports the families of those in the military who died in the line of duty, as well as police and firefighters as well. In addition to providing peer support to spouses left behind, they also come alongside the kids. Whatever that child's passion is in their young life, sports, music, the arts, Angels of America's Fallen covers the cost until age 18. Just one more burden we can lift off of these families. Earlier this week, you've raised more than $10,000 to support Angels of America's Fallen. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me in giving. It's something small and something simple that we can do in collaboration with the Colorado nonprofit to support the families of those who have given all to serve our nation and our communities.
A southeastern Colorado high school scrambles to change its nickname in Mascot before it has to pay up big time and change it anyway. The Colorado Rockies unveil their new City Connect uniforms with one glaring mistake. And we ride into the weekend like we always do.
My good news is the snow's done for the year, so me and Buff can go riding every day.
By sharing your good news next. 11 Colorado schools have less than a week to remove their offensive names and mascots, or else they'll start having to pay a monthly fine of $25,000. This is part of a bill that Democratic Governor Jared Polis signed last year that prohibits American Indian mascots in Colorado schools. A next viewer sent us evidence of Lamar High School making the effort to get within compliance. The word savage has been removed from the stadium sign. An update on the Lamar School's website says the district has adopted a resolution to change the name to the Lamar Thunder. The Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs will have a special session on Tuesday. It will review evidence of Lamar's name change and will vote on if the school should be removed from the non-compliance list. 10 other schools, all with the nickname Thunderbirds, are on the list. The fine, again, $25,000 a month if they're not in compliance by Wednesday. The Colorado Rockies unveiled their new City Connect uniforms, and if you buy one, you get free admission to the state parks. No, wait, that's the state license plate, which is what it looks like. The jerseys are designed to look like Colorado's green license plates. Less city-inspired, more DMV-inspired. Rockies CEO Dick Monfort said they're supposed to represent fans from across the state. But if you want to be authentic, you made a big mistake. A true representation of Colorado's license plates would be temporary tags on the sleeves. The older the better, because anyone who's driven anywhere over the last 2 years knows that expired tags from 2020 basically outnumber the green license plates at this point. The Rocky Mountain Vibes, the independent minor league team in Colorado Springs, are the real trendsetters. They were going to wear these license plate themed jerseys at Colorado Proud theme night against the Grand Junction Rockies in September, but it would appear their thunder and design have been stolen. The Rockies will wear their Nike City Connect uniforms next Saturday against the Atlanta Braves. They'll then wear them every Sunday home game through the remainder of the season. For 300 Fridays now, we have had the honor of sharing the things that bring our fellow Coloradans joy. And today, for our 301st edition, our Tom Cole strapped on his bike helmet and headed out the door with his camera. And our favorite Friday question, what's your good news?
Hey, buddy. You got any good news?
I don't know. I'm going back to bed.
Okay, that's good news. You got any good news?
My good news is having a day off with my kids.
My good news is to have a day off from school and staying with my mom.
My good news is we have family in town.
My good news is I made it through my recent surgery, head injury, and I'm happy, and thank the good Lord for everything.
My good news today is today's a beautiful day here with my son, enjoying the water, and I'm blessed that we're all together and healthy.
My good news is that summer's here and people are riding bikes.
My good news is my sister's in town and we're going to enjoy some Denver activities. We're going to Meow Wolf, and I'm excited about that.
My good news is that I'm alive and well.
My good news is I passed on the finals today, last day of school. Summer's around the corner.
My good news is I got a job after my last one went under, so I feel great. I start tomorrow.
My good news is the snow's done for the year, so me and Buff can go riding every day.
The good news for me is just I'm so grateful for all the friends and family that I have right now who are holding me up when I need
it. Let's go for a ride, back in time, but in the future. And I'll put my dog on TV for the last time, with a recommendation to make it seem less sad. Next. What you just saw there, where we cross out Kyle's name, it's called a reopen. Anusha, Steve, and I all made a serious version and a funny one. That one, me putting glasses on my dog, was my serious... No, it's the funny one. I have to laugh because it still hurts. 2 weeks ago, I said goodbye to my dog, Kosher. The little hot dog would have been 18 at the end of next month. 17 of those, he chose me. One friend told me she knew of no human and dog meant to find each other more than us. Thank you, Denver Dumb Friends League. 9 different homes, 3 TV stations, and 1 wiener dog race victory. What do I miss? Oddly, the routine. Getting up 15 minutes earlier than I need to let him out, get him food and his medicine. I miss the sound of snoring. And watching him run in his sleep. I miss the feel of him resting against me as I put non-slip booties on his paws. His paws. That brings me to what I learned on his last day. In an effort to hold on to something, my wife and I got some Play-Doh, dipped Kosher's paw into the goo. In a different bowl, we combined a cup of putty and half a cup of water. We poured that mixture on the Play-Doh, made sure the bubbles went away, and waited. Then we said our goodbyes. After he left, we separated the putty from the Play-Doh. Now, at this point, I was terrified we did it wrong and there was no redoing it. This is what we got. A perfect imprint to match the one he left on our hearts. May I make a recommendation? Make that imprint today. Don't wait until the last minute when it's possible you screw it up. This is now near the top of the list of items we need to save in case of emergency at home. So get some Play-Doh, a cup of putty, half a cup of water, and your pet's paw. That way you can touch the imprint that you can only feel here.
Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you have some fun plans for this holiday weekend. We're looking pretty good across downtown Denver. Mostly cloudy skies tonight, but that really hasn't stopped our temperatures from soaring into the upper 80s and lower 90s this afternoon. The cloud cover does stick around overnight into tomorrow, and we do have just a couple of isolated showers, little rumble of thunder out there. Nothing severe tonight. And again, we'll be watching the clouds continue through tomorrow. It's going to be late tomorrow night that I'm watching our next storm system push into the state. This one first takes aim in the northern mountains, bringing them some rain and some snow. As it truly barrels into the state, it will produce some snowfall along those higher peaks Sunday and into Monday and bring some scattered storms here for the metro area. Temps tomorrow back to the upper 80s, lower 90s, and then there are those storms on Sunday and Monday.
RTD gets some competition back this weekend. Denver's historic electric rail transit system is opening up for the summer season. But the impact of the city's old trolley system can still be felt today, especially when it comes to more modern transportation projects. The current trolley has been running for more than 30 years between Confluence Park and Mile High along the South Platte River. Denver once had an extensive electric rail system which included more than 250 miles of city tracks and another 40 miles of high-speed tracks connecting Denver with Golden and Boulder. Neighborhoods did all they could to entice the companies to build lines to service them. They'd even pool money together to pay for construction. That created streetcar suburbs like Critters Park, the Highlands, Cap Hill, and City Park. You can thank cars and a new bus system for shutting that down in 1950. The current Denver trolley was restored a few decades later. Tracks from the old system are actually being discovered all the time, usually underneath paved streets. CDOT actually released a report back in 2020 on its research and mapping of the old lines. One reason was so that transportation projects could avoid those areas. Another was to create a framework for what happens when an old line is unearthed. Some feedback on awkward goodbyes next. Maybe I'll just repeat the recipe because I kind of interrupted it with my... Anyways, you need Play-Doh, 1 cup of putty, half a cup of water. You pour that on top. You make sure there's no bubbles. Wait a while. We waited 2 hours. Crack it open. Then you got a little high-five partner for the rest of your life. See you next time.